Greetings, fellow songwriters and seekers, and welcome back to Muse and Measure. If you haven't done so yet, please take a moment, hit the subscribe button down below, and if you like this video, please like it at the end. I have a question from Pat from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Once a song is released, do you still feel responsible for how it's interpreted? Well, Pat, I like to think about my songs and my lyrics and the emotion that I'm trying to communicate as kind of a conversation with the listener. And I'm presenting these sensory details. I'm hopefully grounding my lyrics in the senses so they can have some kind of, mental image or a movie in their mind that's connected as much with the senses as possible. I'm hoping that the music helps deliver that emotional content, or that there's some kind of relationship between the lyrics and the music that are in tandem, that they support each other in communicating that emotion, as well as that concept that I'm trying to get across. When I say concept, I don't mean like a dead concept in the Kantian sense, but like a concept that is imbued with new life, that is an aesthetic idea, that it has something sublime in it, that it makes it so the conversation is not over, that I'm dictating to you as a listener what you're supposed to get from it. And so as far as my responsibility, I think my responsibility is to do as good a job as possible to deliver that experience, that aesthetic experience, in a way that is not delivering predetermined ideas about how to experience them, or predetermined ideas about love or relationships or the experience of life, about the struggles of life, about depression and exhilaration and ecstasy, because I want the listener to finish that with their own associations and their own experiences. And I think really good poetry, really good music, doesn't beat us over the head with some kind of dogma and say, this is the way it is. And I think we can point to a lot of bad songs that do that tell us, this is how it is, this is the truth, and you just need to swallow it. And the people who like those songs, and I think we all like them in some sense, we all have our guilty pleasures in that way. The reason that people like them is because it's just confirmation bias. A lot of country music is guilty of this, where they are pushing a whole ideology, a whole identity about what it means to be country, without any of the nuances of it. And without any of the real truth of it. They might point to things like that the good life is drinking a Budweiser on your porch after a hard day's work, or that happiness is having a nice pickup truck and wearing a nice pair of blue jeans. Well, I mean, that's they tout it as the simple life is the good life, and I don't mean to dissuade that at all or to criticize it. Only that I don't like songs that are going to tell me what the good life is and basically force it down my throat. I think that's ideology and that's propaganda. And the same is true of, look at rap music. A lot of rappers say that the good life is having this money and having all these chicks and going to the club and being the GOAT, which is also propaganda and ideological. I'm looking for art and music that is opening, that opens us up, that's in a state of becoming, so that when a person listens to my music, they are going to have hopefully a new experience every time and get something new from it, because it's going to go in tandem with their own imagination as it unfolds. And these are just like giving them something kind of food for thought, And so as far as responsibility, that's what I'm talking about. Is like, that's where my responsibility ends, to do as good a job of that as possible. And then the responsibility goes on to the listener to actually listen closely enough to give it a listen with an open mind. And sometimes this is just too much to ask of the listener. This is probably why I don't have a huge audience, is because I'm asking this, and I'm not just doing confirmation bias. But I would feel that I was being irresponsible if I did that. That's a little too easy. I could, if I wanted to have a hit song, just focus on writing confirmation bias songs like this, feeding people what they already think they know, how they think about themselves and the world. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of that in songwriting. You want to, connect with people where they're at and connect with yourself where you're at, but you should always deconstruct it in a way and kind of open it up and talk about it. So the really great country songs do that. They talk about the simple life or what it means to live out in the country, but they're not just touting it as like, oh, this is the great life, and we need to, you know, be against our enemies, the libtards in the city who have it all wrong, and they're going to threaten our way of life. A lot of the country songs out today that are like this are basically saying that our life is in jeopardy, that somebody's going to try to take away our guns, or our rights to worship Jesus Christ, or you know, our gender roles, that men, you know, are dominant and women are subordinate. Although a lot of the women country songs go against that, and they always have. So there's much more interesting stuff going on in the life of people who live in the country. And I love country music. It's one of my favorite genres to write in, and I really appreciate it. But like all genres, there are some ideological aspects that you have to get past. And whenever something gets frozen like that and gets codified, that music is in danger of dying because it no longer has any life in it. This happened to jazz, when jazz basically got frozen in the 1950s, and all jazz radio was just a bunch of guys playing music exactly like the guys did in the 1950s, but not quite as good and not inspired because it wasn't the new becoming music like it was back in the 50s when people were innovating and music was on the cutting edge. If you're just regurgitating something that was a hit in the past, you're not creating art. You're not putting something out there that is worth listening to, in my book. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. So that's what I mean by responsibility. It's like, so that's my job, to not take the easy path of just feeding people what they want to hear and actually trying to stretch their imaginations. Also for me to stretch my own writing and not just rest on my laurels and just keep a song within the framework that I know and know how to do, which is easy. I can just sit down and write a song in 2 minutes that way. But to push myself so that I'm saying something new and not just repeating myself as well. All right, well, I hope that answers your question, Pat. And if you have any comments or you have experience with this, I'd love to hear from you. Please put it down in the comment section. If you want to remain anonymous, you're always welcome to send me an email at tyler@musemeasure.com. And please like this video if you liked it. It helps the algorithm know that other people should see this. And as always, please subscribe if you can. I'd love to have